Unnecessary intro song to totally waste your time. All right, get ready for perhaps the gayest episode yet. I don't know if that's... how do you get gayer than most of these episodes? Anyway, Breaking Bad, cool show. Better Call Saul, cool show. Vince Gilligan makes pretty good shows, right? So he's got this new one called Plurb1us. And I watched the first 2 episodes. I was looking forward to it. And, it's immediate kind of disappointment, I'll be honest, because suddenly all the things that weren't necessary back when he started Breaking Bad or even Better Call Saul now are necessary. First of all, it's on Apple TV. So immediately you're thinking of Tim Cook's stupid fucking gay face. And whether or not he asked for things or not, it doesn't matter. But you know immediately that there's going to have to be the United Colors of Benetton in every scene. It's going to have an Indian woman. Look, it's just right off the bat. They have to make the white lady look bad. And all the other cultures of the world look good. I'm not going to give away any plot points, but everything's there. The lead character's a lesbian. She can't be traditional. The setting is that she's white and she's dumb because she's white. And all the 9 white people are more connected and more spiritual and more wise. And then there's the whole predictive programming of viruses and aliens. And I'm not accusing Vince of doing all this shit, but as soon as you become partners with Apple and Tim Cook, and it's inescapable and it's there. It's right there. So you can't deny it. Every element is there. So whether he's fucking with that and doing his own thing or not, you're just like going, why? Why does this all have to be here every single time? Vince, if you think you're being surprising by making the lead character lesbian, you're not. You're not. We have been beaten over the head with lesbian characters for at least the last decade. We have been beaten over the head with brown people are more in touch with their spiritual side and they're more holy. And white people are devious and untrusting and mean. We've been beaten over the head with that for the last decade or more. Actually, the last 50 years, if we're being honest. So, ho-hum, boring. You're not surprising anybody. It's not shocking. Okay, having said all that, it was still pretty good TV because he knows what he's doing, right? He knows how to build a story. He knows how to keep it interesting and keep you engaged. I'm not really good at watching movies and fantasy, to tell you the honest truth, because I have a hard time suspending my critical brain. I'm criticizing at every turn, no matter what I'm looking at, especially because I make art too. So it's hard to get me to just be immersed in a story. And it happens sometimes. And that's when it's really impressive, when art just immerses me. But I wanted to, for comparison, when you're watching a glowing screen, you're either watching Vince Gilligan, or you're watching YouTube, or you're watching the nightly news or something. There's a million different things you can consume on the glowing screen. But one of the things that I watch on YouTube a lot is a channel called Matt's Off-Road Recovery. And it's based in Utah. I'm from Utah. And Matt, I can't remember his last name, just a good old Mormon guy who doesn't talk about being Mormon, but he's got a family of I don't know how many boys. And they're just a towing company. And they built their own tow trucks from the ground up. And they go out and rescue people that have found themselves stuck in the wilderness, off-road. And they have their off-road vehicles and, like real world drama. Fuck. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I'm in the desert. And I rolled off the side of a ravine, or I'm stuck in the mud, or I'm stuck in this lake bed. Like real drama. Not pretend the aliens are coming, downloading DNA, but just real drama, right? And I watched that, and his videos range from 30 minutes to an hour. And I don't normally get bored because they're functionally doing something. You can watch somebody hooking ropes up to a truck and getting it out, strategizing and cooperating with his family, and it's just so wholesome and so wonderful. They're doing things together, solving literal problems, building machines. There's no ceremony about it. Oh, we're doing such important work. Anyway, I'm getting to the next part. So I also listen to some podcasts. There's only a couple that I listen to, really, intentionally. And one of them is Fly on the Wall with David Spade and Dana Carvey. And I listen to that when I'm going to sleep. And one episode of that will last me basically an entire week, because as soon as I turn it on, I listen to 10 minutes and I fall asleep, right? And I only have it on because these guys are not political. They're just being funny and they're corny. And the episode can stay on. I go to sleep. I don't wake up. If I try to listen to Theo Vaughn or Joe Rogan, I can't sleep because Theo Vaughn has this, I don't know, the cadence, the laughing. It just wakes me up and annoys me. But for whatever reason, I can fall asleep just fine to David Spade and Dana Carvey. Anyway, but sometimes, I'll listen to a full episode the next day or something. So I will have already listened to all the episodes. So I think, now what I'm going to listen to. Anyway, Apple Podcasts recommended the Plurb1us podcast to me to, get behind the scenes and listen to Vince Gilligan and the woman who plays Carol and the actors and the editors and lighting directors and everything talk about the making of Plurb1us. So tonight I did that. I thought, okay, well, I watched the first 2 episodes. Let's listen to the podcast. And this is where it just gets really embarrassing, being an artist, being somebody who makes art to manipulate people. And that's what it is. Art is manipulating people, It's pretending. I mean, it doesn't have to be. Ultimately, when you make the art, when you write a song, you don't want there to be a lot of pretend. You want there to be expression or whatever. And you want there to be some honesty. And it's kind of like you're working through psychological, emotional issues, whatever. I told you this was going to be gay. But ideally, that's kind of what you're doing with at least a song, or even maybe writing, or even maybe doing something stupid like what I'm doing right now, is just sorting through existence and figuring shit out, and maybe connecting with some people or allowing other people to feel, like they're not alone in whatever gay struggle they're going through. Told you this was going to be gay. I told you. But so, one of the things that I saw, another annoying things about this Plurb1us is that Vince Gilligan is putting this made with real humans, no AI used thing. And I'm like, oh God, okay, all right, let's listen to your podcast, buddy. And the whole podcast is basically just filled with people making themselves important, fluffing themselves up, trying to turn themselves into heroes, describing how they pretend. You got the woman that plays Carol telling you how she pretends to cry and pretends to be dramatic. And the set builders talking about essentially how they're, in the second one, they're talking about how they build an entire fake neighborhood. And they're talking about it, how awesome they are and how cool. Oh, well, yeah. And we built this fake neighborhood and we had it to be just this exact way. And essentially they're talking about how wasteful they are. You know, because in one breath they're saying we don't use AI. Okay, you could use AI. You know, I know that you people are the same people that are telling me that I got to use fucking paper straws and cut back my gasoline. But if you're gonna make a predictive programming fucking piece of propaganda that's supposed to make me hate myself, you can waste as much. You can build a fake neighborhood. Did it occur to you that you could build a real neighborhood? How about that? For probably cheaper, honestly. You could hire contractors to design your houses and say, let's build a real neighborhood. That would stay there. You know, a house that somebody could use. 6 houses. They're talking about building 6 houses. And she's talking about, we had to deal with the city because we want to build these fake houses and they look like real houses and we have to do it to code for so many things, but we're not going to have plumbing or electricity because we're essentially building pretend houses and they're garbage and we're going to bulldoze them when we're done. We're making garbage. You know? Meanwhile, you flip the channel and there's guys like Matt, an off-road recovery. He's building a real truck that he can use. Not a pretend Air Force One, but a real truck that he can use and he can go out and save people. And he's not bragging about it. He's not getting on a podcast talking about, you know, how important it is that he's doing this and how, you know, it's just, oh God, just listening to these people. They're going on and on about the extras and how Carol would give a speech to the extras to try to make them feel they need to be heard. We need to create space. They're using all this fucking stupid language, you know. We need to save space and create space. And people need to feel like they've been seen. And they're talking about all these, you know, pep talks they're giving to the extras to act like zombies. You know, how to act like zombies for real and channel this and channel that. Just like you fucking people are pretending. That's all you're doing. You're pretending. It's not hard. It's embarrassing. You're adults. You're pretending to be aliens. Do you really need the podcast to sit around and circle jerk about what geniuses you fucking are? The guys that are building actual houses, you know, things you can use, they're not bragging. They don't have a podcast sitting around, oh, and the way I have to get in this certain headset in order to plumb a toilet, which is literally functional. Takes the shit out of your house. And these guys are building houses without toilets and bragging about it. Oh, the level of the attention to detail. Yeah, you mean you're building a house? People are building houses every fucking day, you fucking idiot. Like, where's the fucking humility? That's the part that just drives me nuts, is this arrogance for the We didn't want to use any AI. Okay, yeah, you could have, though. You didn't need to waste all that stuff. The technology is there that you could do it quickly. And okay, sure. Okay, make a case. Make a case. Merkel, you're an idiot. He's creating jobs. Yeah, but what kind of jobs? Jobs of people that are circle jerking around, making pretend houses that don't work, that aren't real houses, pretend neighborhoods with roads that don't go anywhere. Is that's the jobs we need? You know? Okay, tear it down, and then I need a piece of it because it's in this movie. This is the actual toilet that the guy sat on. I've got an actual General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard. Oh really? Yeah. I don't know. It's just it just reminds me of how skewed it is. Like the the arts are just filled with a bunch of shysters. It's all pretend, and it's all just a bunch of fucking bullshit, and people just standing around being self-important and patting themselves on the back like nobody's in the room. If you listen to the podcast, nobody's in the room taking the shit out of them or taking the piss out. It's like, oh, you guys sat around and pretended. You built a fake neighborhood. Oh, isn't that neat? And this woman's bragging about how she learned how to say hello in 5 different languages. You know, it's just like, oh, you memorized some sounds and you got paid a lot of money to do it. You memorized some words. You realize billions of children are doing that every single day, just as a course of living. Oh, this language is super difficult. Oh, really? There's millions of children that learn it every single day with no problem. You're learning how to go blah, 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 blah. Somebody makes a sound, ba ba doo ba doo ba doo, and you go, say that again, ba ba doo ba doo ba doo. One more time, ba ba doo ba doo ba doo. Okay, one more time. Yeah, it shouldn't take you that long. Ba ba doo ba doo ba doo. It's not that hard, and it's not important. You're not learning the language to go save a bunch of people and dig them a well or deliver them from slavery. Okay? You're learning a stupid fucking language for your stupid fucking show with your stupid fucking fake airplane, pretending like you're president. And why? What, to tell white people that they're bad and straight people that they're bad and to elevate the lesbians and make Indian people feel important? Because you're fucking white saviors, Tim Cook. We're just doing what we need to do. We're saving the world through art. No, you're not. You're fucking wasting time. You're making a stupid fake neighborhood in a show that's okay at best, but it's not better than Matt's off-road recovery. And he's actually pulling people out of the mud and providing wholesome entertainment. There's nothing corrupting your mind when you watch Matt's off-road recovery. Nothing. There is no mind corruption there. The only argument I might give for that is that watching somebody doing something isn't as good as actually doing it yourself. Maybe instead of watching Matt build a truck, you go in your garage and you start fixing your own truck. But yeah, these are the people. That's what I'm telling you. It's just that you compare and contrast those two things. And there's lots of different things you can do, with that. It's just, you just got to listen to the tone of these self-congratulatory. Can you imagine? Just imagine how insane it is. The glamour and the glitz and the self-importance of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Academy Awards, the Grammys, where these people who are fucking pretending, they're playing, they're Peter Pans, they're not doing anything of actual substance. but they're getting up there and taking awards, and we're all watching them. Oh, they're so important. It's so, look at Marlon Brando standing up for the cause, this, and lecturing fucking regular people, lecturing actual plumbers, actual house builders, lecturing Matt's off-road recovery, lecturing the guy that runs the hardware store, while they all sit there and circle jerk each other for pretending. And what are they pretending to do, by the way? They're pretending to be better than Matt, to be better than you, to be better than Matt's kids, to be better than the actual plumbers and the electricians. Oh, we don't need a plumber and electrician on this fake house we're building. Scoot along. Actually, can you get behind that line? You're not supposed to be here. Can I see your credentials? Do you have your SAG card? On this podcast, they go on and on about, oh, and the extras we had in the opening scene, they just did such an awesome job. And we went around, we had coaching with them. Oh, really? They pretended like they were getting a book signed by a fake author? Oh, that's so tough. How did you do it? It's so humiliating. It does feel like a humiliation ritual to listen to a bunch of artists sitting around bragging about their craft. And we watch it. I watched it. I mean, and I'm interested. I'm not saying that they have no value. They have some value, but come on, a little bit of humility. That's where you just don't get it. I know that there are artists that do feel that way, and they're the ones that are not getting on podcasts bragging that they're a full-grown adult pretending to be a bear, or a wizard, or a gay mayor changing the world because he's the first gay mayor in a Texas town. Oh, let's pretend. And let's spend tons of money bragging about it. Bragging about the waste. And Vince Gilligan even issues a warning. By the way, don't come to this fake neighborhood we built because it's on private property. And don't fly your drone over because it's in FAA airspace. It's like, oh, dude, shut the fuck up. Don't fucking lecture me. Okay? Don't fucking try to warn me about how important your little fucking goddamn pretend neighborhood, garbage neighborhood is. Where you can't even take a shit in one of your houses because it's not plumbed. But you need to pat yourself on the back because we're pretending like it's a real house. As if there aren't a million fucking houses where you could have just, dude, and with AI, it's just like you could have filmed it anywhere. But no, I'm telling you, a lot of these people, it's one of the reasons why I got away from directing music videos back in the day. I did a few, but there's all this fucking circle jerky, taking care of people's emotions, making people feel like they're doing something important. And yet it's almost like you can't just go, hey, we're having some fun. This is retarded. Don't take it seriously. Let's do it. Get it over here. Not pat ourselves on the back. Let's just do it. But there's always people that it's the do-gooder, self-important. We have to feel good. I remember I worked with this one artist guy. He became my friend for a while, but turned out to be one of the worst people I ever met. But he's a communist. He's a fucking communist. He goes, everybody just likes to feel needed. It's just like, okay, how about this? Do something that's useful. Can you do that? How about that? How about learn to pull somebody out of the mud when they're stuck? How about learn to stack bricks into a shape that looks like a house? How about learn how to shingle a roof? How about learn how to plumb a toilet? Grow a garden? And you don't hear these people talking about it. You don't hear these people talking about, hey, we just want to have we built this house and we need to have this podcast and go over all the details about how we emotionally prepared ourselves to build the house. And what were you thinking when you screwed that pipe to the other pipe? How did you get that done? Well, you see, I had to access this inner feeling that I had. I fucking screwed the pipe into the fucking other pipe fitting. Okay, you see the threads, they go in. These long conversations on how did you pretend to cry? When there's really nothing that sad going on in the script. And let's hear you brag about it so we can never trust you again in any conversation, since you've just told us that you're a fucking psycho and you can cry on command, But here's an award. Oh, daring. You're so brave. I don't know, man. It's just so fucking ridiculous. I mean, it's embarrassing to be an artist. I mean, it just is. Making art is embarrassing. And I'm not saying that to be some kind of fake humble. It just is. It's a vice, okay? Sitting around and pretending and putting your thoughts together in an order to manipulate other people to feel emotions that they wouldn't otherwise be feeling at that moment. In other words, transferring. And look, I'm not saying that I spend every day writing songs and singing them and sharing them with people, write songs with people. And there's something really wonderful about that when you're experiencing them. Like singing a song together as you're going off to war or going to church or remembering a loved one, or, there's so much power in art when it's done with people. There's so many good reasons to do it, to bring people together, But once you create this disconnected society and there's no accountability, I know I've gone over this before, but, once you start making recordings and sending them out into the world and there's no accountability for the ways you've manipulated them, these secret messages to chop off your dick because you're a white male and you're not good anymore and only white lesbians get it's just, there's no accountability for it. You're disconnected from it. That's when it gets just fucking shameful, to be honest. Shameful. And you want to be paid for it over and over again. You want the copyright. You want to, every time, that world is so opposite of real world people that do things like Matt's off-road recovery. Pulling people out of the mud when they need to be pulled out of the mud with equipment that they built with their family and with their friends in a wholesome way that leaves everybody feeling good at the end. Versus this fucking art that's designed to make one group feel like shit and another group have a certain self-importance about themselves. You're transferring that moment. Oh, I had a sad moment. Here's a sad moment. I know what. I'll use that sad moment and make a movie about it and transfer it and edit it slightly to make somebody feel what I felt in that moment. Okay, great. Where are you doing this? At church? Are you going to their house? No, I'm just going to make a recording of it and send it out into the world everywhere. Oh, so you're not going to take care of any of these people. You're not going to look at them in the eyes or anything. You're not going to pull them out of the mud, so to speak, literally. You're just going to send this little record off and demand payment. Don't fly your drone over. That's the other thing, is like copyright takedown notices. The warning you get on a movie. This is protected, do not pirate, and all this lecturing about how you shouldn't be watching their fucking propaganda for free. You should pay for their propaganda because all these people, all these wonderful people on the podcast that build their pretend fucking fake buildings with no toilets and no light switches. They need to be paid. The Disney executives that are trying to turn your kids into eunuchs, gay eunuchs, they need to be paid. No AI was used, real people. Really? Who? Which people? Fucking people that are full of themselves, not doing a goddamn thing, pretending to be fucking Peter Pan. Those people need to be paid. They need to be honored. These award shows aren't grand enough. The red carpets aren't red enough. Not enough blood has been spilled for the red carpet. These people are gods. They will tell you how to vote. You are evil. You people are evil. You common people. You real plumbers. You real mechanics. Tow truck drivers. You MAGA. You disgusting racists. You homophobes. You uneducated. You're not educated. These people never went to school. They work in a garage. They have grease under their fingernails. Oh, you pull people out of the mud with your truck. Isn't that nice? I'm making art. I worked all day in a set. I worked all day in a fake airplane that was painted to look just like Air Force One. And let us tell you how hard it was. It was so hard for us to build this set. Yeah, there's a fucking real Air Force One, you dingbat. There's real planes all over the place. But you fucking people are so self-important. You need to waste everybody's time and build a fake plane in a warehouse so you can play dress up. And we can watch your stupid fucking show. And be told how bad we are for driving our tow trucks and voting for Donald Trump. Because he's not lecturing us about how bad we are and how wasteful we are, while you literally brag about wasting. You brag, you flaunt it with teary eyes. Oh, it's so inspirational how much money we waste. And how many extras. We had real extras. We didn't paint them in. We brought in thousands of extras to sit around all day and pretend like they were seizing and having seizures because alien code was invading their bodies. We're heroes. They're all heroes. It's disgusting, man. I'm telling you. And they are the people lecturing you. You're not going to get a lecture from Matt. You're not. Okay? None of those people, his wonderful kids, his wonderful wife, you're not going to get any lectures from them. You're going to get a free t-shirt. You're going to get pulled out of the mud. He's probably not going to charge you because he's getting paid from YouTube. And he's going to give you a free t-shirt. I told you, I said this in another recording. One time I was watching that show and feeling a little bit robbed of what my life would have been like had I not been duped into pursuing the arts and intellectualism and all that nonsense. That's what I'm really drawn to. I'm really drawn to the 4x4s. That was my birthright, Utah birthright. I'm not blaming anybody but myself, but I remember watching Matt's off-road recovery and just thinking, oh man, that's Utah. That's where I could have, that life could have been mine instead of this San Francisco nonsense, And what do you know? I see him going out on one of his adventures and I see on his screen my stepbrother. I'm thinking, look, there's Chad. And Matt's off-road recovery was helping him get out of the mud in Lake Powell. Right as I was thinking that, it was kind of crazy. Anyway, and this might sound bitter to you, It might sound like there's a little bit of bitterness going on here. I don't know that I would call it that. What do you call it when? I mean, it's worse when you were duped, but you're also heavily involved in the self-dupery. You know, it's that. It's like I don't think that expressing a ton of regret is ever helpful, or anything like that. But certainly pretending that there is no regret is far worse. To live a life and never admit to your mistakes, to drive past a crevice in the road and not stop your car to wave people away, like, hey, 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 whoa, there's a crevice here, watch out. To not put out some orange cones. You're just a shitty human being if you don't do that. If you travel down the wrong road and there's some danger, the least you can do is back up, put some signs up, and say, hey, 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 this road sucks, man. I'm telling you, you can go down it if you want, but there's a lot of bullshit down there. That's all I'm doing here. And I just see it more and more clearly. Like I said, that's the big reservation. Like, even, like, I know this is getting a little long, but there's this one part where Carol's trying to describe how she cried, at a scene. And it's like, when I write a song, I know it's a pretty good song if I can't get through it, because it's real, it's honest, and singing it is hard, And there are some songs that remain difficult to sing, even after you sing them 25 times, because the emotions that are in them are real. There's just no pretending. It's just reminding you of something that was actually joyous, terrible, sad, whatever you want. It reminds you of the actual truth of that moment, And for me, like, even with acting, that's possible even with words. Like, if you sing a song that you didn't write, there are some songs that exist in the world that I didn't write. But if I sit down at a piano to sing them, I have a hard time getting through them, because what's in them is truth. And you know it because it's right there in the words. Somebody has told the truth in a beautiful, honest way. So it requires very little. It requires strength to get through it without crying, but it doesn't require a lot of mindfuckery to sing it in a way that somebody else will feel it, because it's all there. And that's the thing about a good script or a good piece of art, is if it's written with truth in it, it shouldn't be that hard, because the actual words carry the meaning. And as long as you're not overdoing your acting, it's not hard. Let's just put it that way. And it also isn't that hard to access tears if you're a sensitive person like I am. I fucking, you show me a video of somebody forgiving somebody else and I'm a fucking puddle of goo, Hell, just show me fucking dogs excited to see their owners, It's not, my family, by the way, it's not hard to make us cry. That's one of the most annoying things about my mom's side of the family. It's like my sister, my brother, me, and my other sister. It's just like we're criers. We are. I'm good at controlling it around other people. Like, I can suppress it, but hell, if you show me I don't know. It's just, look, tears come easily. So I access the truth it's not impressive. Let's just put it that way. I'm not impressed by people who cry when they're reciting lines that are emotional, because the lines are emotional. And they're saying them. It's natural that they would feel them. It's more impressive when somebody can recite or sing an emotional song without feeling any emotion. That's a little bit more impressive. Somebody who can control their emotions and not be emotional. Well, it's psychotic, actually. Both sides are kind of psychotic. But anyway, I go on and on. The point is artists, I love you. It's fine. High five. Great. If you're making good art, most of you make shitty art. Let's just be honest. Most of the art that's ever made is garbage. Sometimes you make good art, but ask yourself, is it wholesome? Is it wholesome? Are you making people feel good about life? You know? Or are you making them feel like shit? And if you're trying to make people feel like shit, then fuck you. Shame on you. Shame on you. But aren't you trying to make me feel like shit right now, Merkley? Good point. It's a good point. It's a very good point. And I honestly do doubt the value of making these recordings, even though I know there are a few people out there that seem to listen and enjoy or whatever. But anyway, yeah, a little gratitude, a little humility, especially amongst artists. I mean, if anybody should be feeling grateful, it's a person who writes a dumb song, records it once in an afternoon, sends it out into the world, and gets paid for it over and over and over and over again, and has red carpets rolled out for them over and over again, and award shows. Ugh, watching the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is so nauseating. Watching Jack White, watching fucking Iggy, what's his fucking name? A gross guy that always has his shirt off. Iggy Pop, giving an award to Jack White, who couldn't be a worse human being, in my opinion. You know, he's the kind I'm talking about. The kind of guy who's making this art, you know, doing pretend. Oh, look at me dance. Look at me wiggle my hips. Oh, I'm making a riff. I'm screaming in a certain way. It's not even that emotional. But give me an award while I lecture Trump supporters, while I call them all racists and homophobes. You know, for doing actual valuable things, for pulling him out of the mud. That's the part that bothers me. That's what I'm lecturing about. And I'm sorry if it's overbearing, but that's how I feel tonight. Thanks for listening. Unnecessary outro song to totally waste more